Have you ever come across a mystery so strange that it just sticks with you? History is full of them. Lost civilizations that disappeared without a trace, ghost ships found drifting in the ocean, ancient texts no one can decode. These aren't just old stories. They're actual events that have left experts puzzled for centuries. No one has been able to figure them out, and maybe no one ever will. But that doesn't stop us from trying. Today, we're looking at 5 historical mysteries that still have no clear answers. Maybe there's a clue hidden somewhere that everyone else missed. Welcome to Through the Ages. If you enjoy unraveling the past, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into top 5 historical mysteries that can't be explained. Well, when it comes to the greatest historical mysteries, the lost city of Atlantis is definitely there at the top of the list. A strong and well-developed civilization that reportedly lived 9,000 years before Plato's time is the subject of this legendary story. This mysterious city was first described to us by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his works Timaeus and Critias. So what's the tale about? It's about Atlantis, a small island overflowing with success and inventiveness. It was a genuine paradise on Earth. However, according to legend, its people became overly ambitious and greedy, which offended the Greek gods. As a divine revenge, the gods chose to drown the entire island. Resultantly, Atlantis vanished into the darkness as the seawater devoured it. For decades, researchers and historians have been trying to determine the exact location of Atlantis. One intriguing hint provided by Plato was that it was located in front of the Pillars of Hercules. The majority of people understand this to be close to the Strait of Gibraltar on the Mediterranean Sea's western coast. However, there are multiple theories as well. While some think Atlantis is possibly buried in the huge Atlantic Ocean, others think it may have been closer to the Greek islands or even farther away in the Caribbean. There is no limit to the guesswork, and every new idea sparks interest even more. What makes Atlantis so intriguing isn't just its mysterious disappearance, but the appealing possibility that it might have been real. Just think about a society so developed that it might serve as the backdrop for tales of utopian civilizations' disastrous collapses. Interesting, isn't it? Even with all their past research and technical development, historians are still unable to determine the exact location of Atlantis, or whether it even existed at all. This unresolved mystery never stops sparking the interest and running the imaginations wild. Whether real or imagined, Atlantis continues to be one of the most captivating mysteries in history, inviting us to speculate about what may have been. Now, do you have an idea about the Voynich manuscript? It's this mysterious 250-page book that dates back to the 1400s and is essentially an impossible puzzle. It was written in a language or code that has never been understood by anybody. And oh, the strange drawings. They feature plants that don't resemble anything we've ever seen in our lifetimes. A little spooky, right? The name of this mysterious document came from the Polish book trader Wilfrid Voynich, who purchased it in 1912. Although there are multiple other explanations, it is believed to have been written with medicinal purposes in mind. Its first known owner was Georg Berisch, an alchemist who resided in Prague in the early 1600s. He found the manuscript lying around in his library taking up space. Being confused, he tried to discover its story but came up with nothing. Just think of how annoying it must have been. However, throughout the ages, the text changed hands several times. One curious mind handed it to another in the hopes of discovering its mysteries. Ultimately, when Voynich got his hands on it, he had his own theories. He believed that early scientist Roger Bacon or the well-known alchemist Albertus Magnus had possibly penned it. But here's where the story gets even crazier. Some people think that Voynich might have fabricated the whole thing himself. Other possibilities have also been suggested over the years, but none of them clarify the carbon dating of the paper and ink, which clearly places the manuscript in the 1400s. No one has been able to crack its code despite the many hours devoted by linguists, historians, and cryptographers. Literally, they have tried every tactic. Nevertheless, decades later, the Voynich manuscript still intrigues us. It resembles a paradox with a riddle and mystery wrapped around it. It's one of those fascinating historical riddles that captivate us and make us wonder what secrets it might have inside it. Well, here's the mystery that's straight out of a creepy ghost story. On Roanoke Island, which is now part of North Carolina's Outer Banks, John White led a group of ambitious British people to start a new English colony in 1587. They made themselves at home, eager to begin their new lives with hopes of success. The island was lush and attractive, and the settlers were excited to make it their home. But suddenly, White had to head back to England to get extra supplies. He left his people behind and promised to return as soon as possible. Fortunately or unfortunately, his return got postponed due to the Anglo-Spanish War, which demanded the use of all ships. It wasn't until 3 years later, in 1950, that White ultimately made it back to Roanoke Island. When he reached there, a spooky silence greeted him. It was a lifeless town. The colony was utterly abandoned. There were no bodies, no evidence of a battle, and nothing to suggest what happened. Before departing, White had instructed the colonists to draw a cross into a tree in case they felt forced to leave. However, there was no cross. Rather, the word Croatoan carved onto the wall was the only hint that was still there. Croatoan was the name of a welcoming native tribe on an island nearby, so White assumed they had surely moved there. He tried to look for them on Croatoan Island in a desperate attempt to get answers, but he was unable to do so due to severe weather and wrecked ships. For centuries, people have been speculating about what might have happened to the Roanoke colonists. Although there isn't any direct proof, some people claim that the Powhatan tribe murdered them. However, according to recent investigations of historical documents, this group of colonists was not involved in any massacres that might have taken place. Also, there are opinions that the settlers might have merged with the communities of the native tribes, such as the Croatoans, but no DNA evidence has come to light to back up any of these claims. The fate of the Roanoke colony is still one of history's biggest unanswered questions, even after much investigation and the development of modern technologies. What actually occurred to those settlers? The question still fascinates archaeologists, historians, and interested people. It's a tale of mystery, adversity, and hope that hasn't yet revealed its last chapter. Next up, we have the Mary Celeste. In November 1872, the British-American ship Mary Celeste sailed to Genoa, Italy from New York. 7 crew members, together with Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, were on board. They possessed utilities like an upright piano and a sewing machine, as well as sufficient food to last 6 months. However, on December 4, 1872, the Mary Celeste was discovered abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean. The ship's cargo was undamaged, and it was still safe to sail, with the exception of one lifeboat that was missing and appeared to have been boarded in a systematic manner. But the question is, why? We might never know the answer because no one on the ship was ever heard from again. A seaworthy ship must have experienced an unusual and frightening event in order to be abandoned this way. But nothing extraordinary was noted in the ship's previous log entry, and everything within appeared to be in order. Even the crew's private belongings, tools for navigation as well as jewels, were undamaged. Many hypotheses have surfaced throughout the years, including pirate attacks, rebellion, and even the existence of a huge octopus or sea monster. Another possibility suggested that the captain may have chosen to temporarily leave the ship due to the turmoil caused by a severe waterspout. And recently, experts have proposed that an explosion that left no burn imprints may have been caused by a scientific phenomenon involving vapors from the 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol in the cargo area. Yet despite all these theories, the mystery of the Mary Celeste remains unsolved. It is one of those tales of phantom ships that never cease to frighten us. Who knows what actually occurred in the Atlantic? Some mysteries just won't reveal their secrets. As a quiet reminder of the ocean's immense and mysterious depths, the Mary Celeste is still sailing through the pages of history. Moreover, how could we forget the dancing plague while discussing the historical mysteries? Well, something unusual happened in the German city of Aachen in 1374. One day, out of nowhere, the locals started dancing. But that wasn't your normal happy dance. This was an involuntary, manic dancing that went on for days. Some people danced themselves to death, while others danced till they physically passed out from exhaustion. Because of that, people were falling here and there in the streets, struggling to stop, and this must have been awful. In earlier times, the local authorities believed that the townsfolk were either being punished by God for their crimes or were under the influence of the devil. However, contemporary researchers believe that ergot poisoning from bad rye in the local bread and alcohol was the source of this strange behavior. Ergot is a hallucinogenic fungi, so that explains the wild, uncontrollable dancing. Still, no one is actually sure about the reasons of plague. Moreover, strangely, the incident did not happen only for once. After it disappeared for quite a long time, the dancing plague again happened, but this time in Strasbourg in 1518. Once more, people suddenly began to dance wildly. Additionally, there are accounts of smaller, comparable epidemics that occurred all across medieval Europe until the 17th century. However, the exact cause of this strange phenomena is still a mystery despite all its efforts to solve it. Thus, the dancing plague continues to be one of those curiosities of history that bewilder us. It's an intriguing historical puzzle that we may never solve. There's something bewitching about historical secrets that keeps us hooked. Every time we encounter an answer, new questions emerge, holding the quest for answers alive. This curiosity to find the answer has sparked debates, inspired research, and sometimes even led to unexpected discoveries. So, what stood out to you most? What did we miss? Share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for watching.